Okay, today we're going to show you the Anderson Training System's executive workout. This workout's for the busy professional that's probably been away from exercise or maybe just kind of going through the motions with their exercise at the gym, kind of had a stagnant program for a good period of time. This is a pretty simple program. Basically what we're going to show you is we're going to do a little bit of core or strengthening, isometric stabilization movements to begin the movement of the video here. Then we're going to move on to some dynamic strength movements to kind of work on some mobility and flexibility along with some strength. And then we're going to bring in the all-important, and this is for heart health and fat loss and all those things, a little bit of interval training towards the end of the program. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first two drills we're going to look at are what we call plank hold, or isometric plank hold, and then isometric lunge. And this is the basic. The first one is to start. Plank hold is to kind of tighten the trunk. You're learning to brace through the trunk, which is going to help stabilize your back for any of you guys that are experiencing what we call low back pain. Isometric lunge hold is actually going to help do a couple of things, and we'll explain that when we get to it. But we're going to start with the plank. Plank you can hold for, unless you're terribly deconditioned or out of shape, you're going to probably want to start to hold between 20 seconds and 30 seconds. And you're going to want to be progressive with each week and go ahead and move on up and add a little bit more time to that each week. But I start in the 20-30 second range and move up. So here's what the plank hold looks like. I'm going to show you from profile. You're going to start on your stomach, forearms on the ground. You want your elbows right underneath your shoulders, toes kind of curled underneath you, and you're just going to lift your body off the ground. The most important thing to do here is to really squeeze your cheeks. It's absolutely important. You can do this drill and kind of be hanging out here all day long. You'll start to get some tension in your low back. You start to get tension in your low back when you're doing this drill, you're not doing it right. So you need to come back to your stomach and reset the drill. If you're having that trouble, a way to kind of help get you cued in is to squeeze your cheeks and push them in the ground as hard as you can, and then lift your body up off the ground. You can see I'm almost immediately shaking in my trunk area if I'm squeeze my cheeks together. That's what you want to make sure you're doing. If you're putting a lot of pressure on your shoulders up in here, you can shift your weight forward and backward as such. So you want to be able to adjust that, but always squeeze your cheek. That's what's going to work your core or trunk like we're talking about there. It's going to give a lot of stabilization. You're also, by squeezing the cheeks, you're going to get a stretch on the front of your hips here, or your hip flexors, which are a key component to many of yours, the back pain that you're experiencing because of the tightness and developing in those front of the hips muscles, of those hip flexors, deep hip flexors. The next drill we're going to show is an isometric lunge hold. This is going to be probably a little surprising for some of you. It's going to be made look pretty easy in this instance. But all I'm going to do is have one leg out in front of me, foot flat on the ground, back knee down on the ground. Again, I'm concentrating on squeezing this cheek, and I'm going to press straight down on the ground with this front foot. What I'm going to do is lift off. I'm not going to hold onto my leg as such. I'm just going to hold here and bounce for about 10 seconds. I'm going to really squeeze here. So what this is going to do is give me a beautiful stretch down the front side. Again, working on those hip flexors and quads, which we also have that are so tight. And obviously the front leg's doing some work. You really want to try to contract this front leg and hold from this. If this is too difficult for you, you can move into some kind of stationary position where you can have some vertical supports. We don't want horizontal supports because we don't want you to be up and leaning on something. We want it to be a vertical trunk posture and holding from here. This is going to be 10 seconds, and we're going to rotate each time through each leg 3 times per set. I would recommend doing 3 sets of plank holds and 3 sets of lunge iso holds. Again, if you need to hold on to something vertical, that's okay, or need to have some balance up, that's fine. It's going to be very surprising, like I said before, that many of you are going to think that this looks very simple, but it's going to be a very challenging drill, a very beneficial drill because you're getting isometric strength, which is really foundational type of strength in that front leg, and a good stretch in the back leg. So those are those 2 drills. I would cycle through each of those drills 3 times. So I would do 3 repetitions of 20 seconds or 30 seconds start with the plank holds, and then I would switch to the isometric lunge holds for 10 seconds each leg, 3 reps per set, 3 sets total for each of those 2 drills.